This
Nice.
conference will now be recorded.
Okay. So first things first, sir. I'm going to start to prepare for my company, sir. So what are the things I have to learn? So that is the first thing everyone should have. Am I right? Everyone must have the same question. So where to start and how to start and what are the things that I want to learn or what are the things that I have to focus on. So this will be the first thing that everyone will be thinking of. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Uh, Super. Good. Okay, then let me share my screen so that I can. Okay, just yes. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Okay, guys is from CSC, PCE, Triple E, CCE, and any other department is there?
Sir, IT, sir.
IT and any mechanical or civil students are here?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Thank you. Okay, guys. So, if I hope you're all aware of the types of companies that we are mostly getting. So, one is product, another one is service. So, these are the two types of companies that we'll be mostly getting for recruitments. Yes, and the syllabus is not going to be varying for these two companies. Both because mostly nowadays all the service companies are also expecting the same level of skills that the product company is expecting. And also the product company's expectation is still growing. Still it is moving to next level. So like as you are learning like AML, data science and everything, yes. So before that, the basics actually, when they are coming for a recruitment to a college, they will not be going to ask you for any advance or how to get a cloud architect or how to get a server to be ready and it to be run in an instance like that. It's not going to be around. Actually, what the company will test you is they will be testing you from your basics and your logics. The basic that you learn from the academics that is starting from your first year, first semester paper to the current semester paper you are learning in. They will be having your entire academic syllabus with them. Every subjects, even your math subjects, even your electrical subject, even your electronic subject, any subject, they'll be having your entire curriculum. They'll be checking your basics, whether you have learned it correctly or not, whether you are aware of that you are learning it or not. So that is the first thing they'll be checking. So that is the first thing they'll be checking. And the second thing is your logical thinking. So logical thinking in the sense they'll be giving you some problems and they make you to solve the problems. So that is the way a normal recruitment process will start. So they'll be starting with your basics and then your logics. So once you are clear this first round, so this will be your first round. After that, they'll be starting to move towards their requirement. So their requirement in sense is what are the things that they expect from you? For example, problem solving and also the language which you are preferred or the language which you are good at and the data structures and the efficiency of an algorithm like that. So, so these are the things that you want to know before starting to prepare for a drive. Okay. So, sir, so what are the things, sir, that I have to start or where to I start? If you ask me, so first thing I suggest is from C language because we already know C is the basics of all modern languages. So they have the syntax, they have their set of rules, and they have the criteria how to create or how to. So we use the basic syntax of how to use and how to where to use. So we have to start from C language and we have to understand about all the keywords. So in C we should be aware of keywords. After that, we'll be having this input and output operators and expressions. So இதெல்லாமே நம்ம already நம்ம பார்த்தாச்சு. இதெல்லாமே I hope everyone has gone through this. So but still I'll be explaining you something related to interview perspectives. So input output operators and expressions and then and then conditional, and then control, and then okay, so and then functions, pointers. See, these topics that I've listed right now, these topics are mainly focused on your first round. That is going to be your MCQ round. Okay, that rounds that it will be. Okay, before going to the topics, maybe I can explain the rounds, how the drive will happen. So mostly there will be a minimum of 4, maximum of 8 rounds of drive will be there. That depends on the company which you are going to appear. Minimum of 4 rounds, maximum of 8 rounds. So first round will be your uh, multiple choice question plus short coding. And second round will be your long coding. And third round will be your application development. And fourth round will be of your technical HR. And fifth round, it will be of normal HR. Okay, so that's how this extra rounds comes. So here it depends. So first, maximum every two company will have these 2 rounds. One is MCQ, that is your RP, plus technical RP, plus short coding. Short coding in the sense you'll be having of 2 to 3 problems, 3 programs. And long coding in the sense it will be a combination of both data structures, algorithms, or any scenario-based questions, or any line problems like a cricket field, uh, any any live problems they'll be giving you and they'll be asking you to solve it in it. So that will be your long coding round. And application development is nothing but the way you are going to build an application. So these application rounds is mostly focused on product companies. Service companies won't focus on these application round. Instead of these application round, what they'll be having is they'll be having this other suppose like SQL or web development. So like this, they'll be adding their own criteria to it. So, but as far as right now, we consider this as an application now. Okay. Okay, then. So here in this long coding, if you want to clear to this long coding, you should be aware of data structures, algorithm techniques, algorithm techniques. So this is application development. It is purely on your logical thinking. See, mostly in application development, mostly what they think is, sir, I should be familiar with some other some any special language, like I should be familiar with Python, or I should be familiar with Java, or I should be familiar with. No, that is not the case. In application round, what they mainly check is how we are going to split the problem into small tasks. For example, parking lot. If I'm going to develop a parking lot system, then how we are going to develop that and how we are going to break that problem into simple tasks, and you can implement in any language, because nowadays no company will stick you to stick to one language. They are not offering you should use only C language, you should use only Java, you should use only Python. There is no constraint like that. The thing they require is you have to be able to solve the problem. That's it. The way you are approaching, that is the thing that they will be checking it. I hope everyone know about the rounds of Zoho and Thoughtworks. Maybe you have heard from your seniors or your friends. Because these companies or Amazon or any company, what they do is whenever they're coming for a application development round or a long coding round, what happens is they will be providing you with the actual software engineer whom you are going to work under. The person, after if you are selected and you are going to work for that organization, below to whom you are going to report, that is the person who is going to ask you the question. Nowadays, that is the current scenario happening in online drives. In every online drive, that is the scenario that is happening right now. So the person who's going to be your upper in your organization is going to ask you question. So in the way sense, they can directly hire you in the way that you are able to understand what he is telling. That this is my requirement. I'm going to post the requirement to you, and whether you are able to understand it clearly or not. That is the first thing that we will be checking you. Whether you have understood what is the thing that the organization wants, the requirement analysis phase. So that is your project building round. So first, understand what he is selling. Then, how you are going to approach the solution. You have to explain your solution like that. They can be able to that your solution should be satisfied by your interviewer or the person in front of you. Is my voice is clear? Is it clear? Everything?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes. So that is the thing that the solution that you are going to develop is you should be able to explain to your questioner or the interviewer, and you have to explain that. So this is the question that you asked me, and this is the way I understand it, and whether this is the correct way I'm leading to it, or this is the path I'm going to solve the solution. You can ask him a suggestions also. So this is what I think, whether this is correct or wrong. Like that, you can ask your HR or the person, the interview person, whether I understood it correctly or not. Because most people are making mistakes at this point. So whenever it comes to a face-to-face HR or any face-to-face round, what they expect is whether you are able. So as an interviewer, he'll be explaining your questions, but he doesn't know whether you understand the question properly or not. So what he expects is he expects you to talk and to check whether you understand the question correctly or not. So he is expecting you. So for 5 minutes, he'll be giving you time and he'll be checking whether you have understood it clearly and whether you're able to solve it or not. But after 5 minutes, you're waiting and you're still thinking, then she'll be posing a question like that. Whether you are clear or whether do you want to explain the question again. Like that, we'll be starting the conversation. So that is how a normal interview will go on. So whenever it comes to this part, you have to be more interactive with your HRs or interacting with the interview panel members, so that only you can get a clear idea and then you can solve it. Is it clear? So second thing is the way that you are approaching your solution. That is the splitting up your project. That is, first I'm going to develop this room, or first I'm going to develop a building, and then I'm going to develop a floor, and then I'm going to develop vehicles. So like this. So for all these things, you have to create. If you are using C, then you have to create a structure. If you are using Java, then you have to use a class. If you are using Python, then you have to use a class. So these are the things that you are required, because there is nothing new to learn in it, because everything is already known to you. And after creating these classes, then you will be posting him. So this is the model that I have come up. I don't want to change anything. Like that, you will be posting a question and the conversation will go on. So that will be the application round for you. And after the technical attack, so this is one important round. See, normally many people think this technical HR will be very easy or it will be very, it will be finished very easily. But these technical HR will take around minimum of 4 to 8 hours. Please remember this, guys. Minimum of 4 to 8 hours. This technical HR, what they do is they'll be having all your solutions from your first round to the last round, the previous round that you are appeared. They'll be having all the questions, all the solutions. If it is an online drive, they'll be having the recording of those sessions. Everything will be there. And this technical HR will monitor all these things. So why you have answered a question like this? So in the first round, you may be answered for the first MCQ, you may answer it as a option 2. Then that will be a wrong answer. See, that question will be that question will be asked again in this technical HR. Someone called this as a bar racing interview or bar racing round, like that they would telling. In Amazon, we'll be calling this as a bar racing because you are lagging in this section. So I will be asking more questions in this section, like this. There are some. So okay, sorry. So this is how the signature will happen. They starting from first question to the last rounds your solution. Up to that, they'll be having the ads with your profile, with your academic details, and we'll be starting the question. And mostly the question will always start from in this technical lecture. The mostly the question always starts from or area of interest or projects that you do. What are the projects that you work? So if you're telling, if you're asking about project, that internally, why you selected this project? So what is the thing that attracted you to do this project? That again comes to your area of interest. So this is how the normal technical HR will start, and this is how it will go on. And it takes around more than 8, so maximum as 8 to 10 hours. I hope your seniors, one person has attended up to 13 hours, I think so. He attended. I forgot him. So actually, his name is actually in Munich. I hope so. In 2016, passed out. One person. His name is Aravind. I think so. He plays in Munich. So for him, there are totally 7 technical HR rounds handled. 7 technical HR rounds. Only technical HR. Not about. Not telling these two. They have one. They have total 7 technical HR. 7 panels on technical HR, and each panel took minimum of 1 to 1.5 hours. Each panel took, and his on that day, the first day night, he completed his drive by 2 a.m. morning. Morning 2 a.m. he completed his sixth or fifth technical HR. On the next day, he went to the next college because the next day the drive was conducted in CIT. He moved to that college, and there they again started the round, and they went on till evening 5 p.m. So this is how the technical HR round happens. So there is a maximum duration that in our college we monitor. But this may differ. But this may differ depends on company. But there is also possibility like this to happen. So be ready for it. You have to prepare for all these things. Is it clear, guys? And this HR is a normal. HR is a basic round which will help you to understand about the company clearly, and also the company to understand about you. What is your requirement, and what is your expectation like that. So you have to explain it clearly to your HRs. So this is the question that I'm going to work on, and this is the expectation I'm having, and why you are selecting this organization, and why you have come to this job role like this. So he expects you to talk more. He wants you to talk, or he wants you to express what you are thinking. So that will be the major round in HR. So is that clear? So these are the common rounds. Mostly it will happen in both service companies or product companies. Mostly these are the rounds that you will be having commonly. The rounds may increase on these two parts. One is long coding. There may be of 2 to 3 long coding sessions, and also in technical HR sessions. The technical HR sessions may be increased based on their filtering level. Okay, so I hope this is clear. I hope this is clear, everyone, for everyone. So what are the rounds are there and how to prepare for it? Guys, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Clear,
Please
sir.
post a message. Yes. Yes. Thank you. And one more thing, sir, I'm from CC, sir, I'm from EC, sir, I'm from Triple E, sir, I'm from mechanical, sir. Sir, I don't know about this, sir. I don't know about this, sir. That is not your option. If you are appearing for Zoho Corporation, if you are applying for a role in Zoho, then Zoho expects you to know about what is data structure, what is algorithms, what is application development, everything because that is the thing that he is working on. So he expects you to learn about these things. At that time of drive, sir, I'm triply sir. Sir, I'm from mechanical background, so I don't know this, I don't know that. Like that, you cannot explain to him. For that is the reason that you have these time. This, yeah, I hope exactly you'll be having 5 to 6 months of time duration, so that you can prepare well and you can appear for your drive. So please use this time efficiently. And one more thing, guys, I hope mostly everyone is having your laptops. Uh, if not, please make sure you are having any system ready with you, because next year we don't know how it's going to be. Maybe the lockdown may extend, or maybe the lockdown may close, or anything. But you be ready with it. You be ready with either a laptop with a good network connection or a system with a broadband connection, anything. You have to be ready with your systems in your home with webcam and a good headphones, everything. Because without that, you cannot appear for any drive. Without that, you cannot practice. You cannot practice in any platforms. You have to keep on practicing. You have to keep on uh, upgrade yourself. So for that, you need a system. You cannot work in mobile. You can't repeatedly work on mobile, or you can't type your codes in mobiles. So I suggest, if you are not having any laptops or systems in your home, please buy it and keep it ready with you with good network connection. Because you cannot explain to your HR that I'm in a remote area and I'm not having a network facility. He doesn't want you. If Because mostly nowadays people are working from remote areas, so they have the good connections. They should have a good network connection, because without that they cannot work. So that is the scenario right now. So we cannot tell this as a reason. So make sure you are arranging for it right now itself. I'm starting with this note, because these are the basic things that you require right now. Right now you are in need of it. So I hope everyone is having your laptops and your own systems with broadband connections. If anyone is not having, please have it. Either you can have it as a second-hand model or anything. You don't want to go for a high-end purchase. Just you want a system with good network connection with browsers. That's it. That's more than enough for you to practice. Yes. So make sure you are having all these things and you start practicing in it. Okay. So these are the rounds that you're going to face in your you're going to face your drive. So now the things that you want to learn. So these are the things. So when taking with C language, you have to start with keywords. So keywords is the basic alphabets of any language. So the topics that I listed here, these are the things that they are mostly focused on your first round. First round in the sense your technical MCQs. Technical MCQ. They'll be having some actually they're not the exact syntax or not the exact scenario what they're asking you. They'll be telling you what are the do's and don'ts in this. So for example, if I'm taking an operator, so we have this operator like plus plus or minus minus or assignment operator. So some operators we have. So what are the things that these can do, or what are the things that they will not do? Like that. The do's and don'ts in this. Similarly for conditional operator. So for condition, if I have a condition like this. So I hope my screen is visible. Yes, my font is clear.
Yes, sir, visible, sir.
Yes. Okay. So what happens is if I have a condition like this, A less than B and B, comma B less than C, comma C less than D. So I have a condition like this. So what is the condition that I'll be taking for consideration? If a scenario I have a condition like this, whether it is a valid statement, if A is less than B, comma B is less than C, comma C is less than D, whether it is a valid statement.
No.
No. Okay. So well. Okay, so why it is not a valid statement?
Sir, we have to give relational operators using and or, sir, not the command. It will show a syntax error, sir.
Because it's little bit low. Can you type it in the chat? The voice is a little bit low.
Sir, there should be a single expression inside conditions.
So that is a thing that we already seen. But what is the use of this comma operator? Is comma an operator or not? Is comma a valid operator or not? In C. Okay. So here are this comma statement, comma operator. Okay, so these are, see, actually, comma is a valid operator in C, and we have more questions like this. And maybe we can explain in the upcoming sessions. Because uh, yes, it is valid for separating variables. Yes, so this is the part that we have to think, right? So these types of questions is the thing that you have to focus on and you have to prepare on. Yes. So these are the types of questions that you will be facing. Okay, we'll be explaining these questions in the later part because we have some set of questions that to practice. At that time, we'll be explaining what is it, everything. We'll be explaining at that time. So don't worry, but I'm just giving you a flavor of it. So like it is not going to be normal if condition or if else or switch like that. It will be like this. The questions will be like this, a little tricky questions like this. That's it. So similarly for control, if I'm taking a control statement, then the control will be of nested of 3 to 4 controls, like for while, or for while, and we'll be asking a question. So how much time this printf statement will work, or how much time this scanf statement will work, or how much time this print will be working. Like that, they'll be asking us to count how much time this is valid or not. So similarly, functions. So in functions, we have this call by value, call by reference, and what happens if I'm using a reference, and what happens if I'm using a call by value. So how the value will be updated, and similarly pointers. So what is the value will be shared to the function, and what is the value will be pointed back to this. So like that. So these are the key areas where they'll be focusing only on the first round. That is your technical MCQ. Is it clear? You have to focus more on it. So you have more sites for it. You have, I hope you already aware of this. So GeekSpace, Sand Foundry, India Books. So similarly, there are a lot of websites. We'll be sharing you all the details later. Yes, you have to focus on these types of questions. You already, so nowadays all the websites are offering you this previous year question papers. Like these questions are asked in Amazon, these questions are asked in some company, these questions are asked in these companies. So like there are so much of question banks that is available online. You can just go and refer to it. Just start from there. So after that, if you are going for programming, if you are entering into programming round, that is a short coding or long coding, so everything will start from this array. You will be having without array, like even it can be of a string. String is a character array. So without character array, we cannot create a string. So you have to start with the array and then structures, and then you have union, and then you have some what is this? Preprocessors. Preprocessors in the sense like hash, define, type def, like that. These things that you'll be working on. So these are something that relates to your programming. So I hope you already have started to work on it. Arrays, structures, unions, preprocess like that. Yes, so when coming to C, so these are the main topics that you have to focus on. And these are the things that you have to focus on. Maybe I have missed something. If I missed, I can share you the later. But these are the some things that I'm just getting right now. So after this, after the short coding, we'll be focusing on more on data structures and algorithms. So if coming to data structures, so data structures always start with, in my perspective, we always start with C because C is the in C, we are not having all implemented functions. Yes, we have libraries, we have already implemented functions there, but this C language will help us to build our own logic in an efficient way. Because see, Java and Python has already have its own library files, and he already developed all the functions that we want to create. He already have all the packages. So just we can just go and work on it. But the company people doesn't want that, because he already know what is that. He wants you to test how to create that function or how to develop your own function. So that is the thing that they expect from you. So, so only I'm suggesting you to learn data structure from C, because in C you will be creating each and every functions. You will be writing your own codes. Is it clear? So I'm just telling in the perspective of C language. Data structure in the perspective of C, not with Java or Python. Because Java and Python have their collections, and in collections, all the packages are already available. All the methods and all the things are already available there. So we don't want to go there. So when coming to Java and Python, I'll be telling you some what is the things that you have to learn in that. Okay, when coming to data structures, we have to start with pointers. So why is a pointers? Why is a pointers? So what is the use of data structures with pointers? If you are entering into data structures, you should not use any public or global declarations. See, some for practicing, we can use some global declarations or to know how to understand it. But if you're working in an application-oriented environment, you should not be using more. You should not often use these global declarations. Everything should be inside your functions, and to and all, you're sharing your credentials. They only can access it, and that is only achieved in C by using pointers. In the sense, it is like a private variable. Like pointers is very similar to a private variable, but it is not an exact private variable. But though for those whom I'm sharing my details, they only can access my details. So for that is the reason I'm starting with pointers. So after that, you'll be having this arrays, and then linker list, and then stack, and then queue, and then tree, graph, and then hash. So after this, there are so many types that, but okay. So what happens is there is tries and some other things are there that later we can, after completing these hashings and everything, then we can go for this. But for considering for data structures, so these are the important topics that you have to be aware of it. So we'll be learning these in detail. We'll be learning these in details. So after this, when coming to algorithms, in algorithms, first one you already know, searching and sorting. So commonly used algorithm techniques, these searching and sorting. So after this, you have string algorithms, and then bit manipulations, and then branch, branch and bound. After that, okay, just a minute. See, guys, I suggest you don't leave the session because the session will be locked. Okay, branch and bound, greedy strategies. After that, we have dynamic programming. So we can tell it as a request and dynamic programming. And one thing, this regression is not in algorithms. Actually, this is in function with regression. There is a part that we be static. Okay, maybe we can add the here pointers and functions. So this function is related to recursions. Okay. So nowadays, mostly companies are focusing on these dynamic programming. If you want to know what is dynamic programming, then you should be good at recursions. So what is the drawbacks in recursion? Then how we can overcome that? So because there are two main problems that we do overcoming with dynamic programming. So overlapping subproblems and yes, dynamic programming. Yes. So commonly this called as DP for dynamic programming. So these are the things that you have to focus on algorithms. After that, Java. If you're starting with Java, so basic, every language should start with keywords. Keywords in Java. After that, you'll be having input and output, same operators and expressions and the conditional controls. Everything is here. You have some special operators in Java. You have to focus on that special operators. So what is the special operator in Java and how to use it and what are the things that I have to focus on that operators. Because mostly all the other operators are from C. C is going to give us a major contribution. So if you are familiar with C, then we can easily decipher any program in any language, like Java or Python or Ruby or Rails or any language, we can easily decipher it, debug it, because everything is going to be same as it is in C. But there are each language has its own credentials or own advantages. Like they have added operators or some added methods to it. So we have to focus on that part alone. So after that conditional and then control statement. So these are the normal basic things that up to this now we are not into Java. But the actual Java question where it starts is that is from JVM, JDK, and JRE, and API, and garbage collectors. So this is the first. Actually, mostly they will not be focusing on these topics. These topics are maybe they can ask in your first rounds of technical HR like that. But these are the things that they will not be focusing on Java because these things are mostly as in C language. The things that they start with Java is this one. This is JVM. What is Java Virtual Machine? What is JDK? What is JRE? What is the API? What is API? What is garbage collector? So what is the version of Java you are using? So about the core Java. So that is the part where the Java will start. Guys, I hope my voice is clear and my screen is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So this is where you have to start learning your Java. And after that, you have after this, you'll be focusing on strings. Okay, actually, before strings, you have to focus on class and objects. After that, you'll be focusing on strings and then arrays and then class, object, strings, arrays, and see these are the things that I'm explaining you right now is mostly focusing on your programming. That is your second one. That is your long coding or short coding like that. Because they will in that part you'll be using mostly of strings or arrays like that. That is in short coding. When coming to long coding, you have to be good at those collections. Okay, so strings arrays. After that, you'll be having collections. So in collections, we'll be having this list, set, map. So these are the three main collections that we normally using in Java. But there are some more types out there that we can later see it. So after this exception, threads. Okay, these two things, this exception and threads. So this two topics, they will not be focusing on programming. They will not be focusing on programming. Instead, these exception handling and threads, these two topics will be asked in your first technical MCQ. In Java related technical MCQ, they'll be focusing more on the exception handling and threads. After that, in your technical HR. In your technical HR, they'll be asking questions related to this exception handling and threads in Java. Guys, please make a note of these topics because these are the topics that you have to prepare from today. From today, you have to start to prepare this. If you are, I hope everyone has completed these things in your last year itself. We are going to start with those things today, but later on we moving to this and we will be learning these things, everything. But you have to keep focus or keep track of it, what you are learning and how you are learning. So make sure you're having your notes or putting your note with this topics. Okay. So next is after exception and threads, you'll be having this database connectivity. So that is just a steps. They will not be asking you to implement it, but JDBC connection is asked in your application rounds. So this connectivity will be mostly asked in your application rounds. If they want you to connect with your database, if they want you to connect with database, mostly they will not be asking it, but they will be checking you whether you are aware of it, like how to connect with the database or not. So this is the part that you have to focus on Java. These are the things that you have to focus on Java. And after that, so mostly Java and Python have mostly same topics. Mostly Python also have the same topic, but instead of this, you'll be having this interpreter and what is that? Lambda functions and something. Mostly the most common thing between Java and Python is mostly everything is going to be same in most Java and Python. Except this, apart from day1 JDK, they'll be having this what is interpreter, what is the lambda functions, so like that. So inline functions, like that, they'll be asking you questions on it. So I hope I don't want to repeat the same again here for Python. Because Java and Python is mostly having the same topics. Just the way of implementation differs. How so here the list is implemented in a different way. In Python the list is implemented in a different way. So next thing is object-oriented concepts. So object-oriented concepts. So in object-oriented concepts, start with class and object and encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism, inheritance, association, aggregation, composition. So these are some object-oriented programming concepts there. I hope I missed anything. Okay. Okay, encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism, inheritance, association, aggregation, composition. Okay, so some topics I have listed out. And if you want inheritance will comes under abstractions, everything. Okay. So these are some object-oriented concepts that you'll be implementing both in Java or Python. You'll be implementing these concepts. See, OOPS is just a concept that I can implement in any object-oriented programming language. So only OOPS can be implemented in Java, or OOPS can be implemented only in Python. That is not the case because OOPS is just a concept. So mostly in technical HR, these concepts will be asked orally. They will be orally asking you what is a class, what is an object, what is an encapsulation, what is an abstraction, what is a polymorphism, and they doesn't want your explanation in a definition. They doesn't want your definition. So class is a empty set which contains methods and variables. That is not the thing that they want. What you understand it in it, how you are going to implement with that class. You have to explain it with an example. Is it clear, guys? So you have to explain it with an example. Like this is the class, and this is why we are going for class. So this is my object, and this is what this object contains. And these are the things that are inside this object. So why you are going for encapsulation? So to protect my data from external source. What is an abstraction? Why we are going for abstraction? So you have to, if a question is asked from any OOPS concepts, you should be able to explain it clearly with an example, not just a definition. Most we understand this. If anything is asked related to OOPS, you should be able to explain it with an example, not only the definition. Okay, so these are the things that you have to focus on. OOPS. Apart from this, you have one more thing. You have two to three things that you have to focus on. Register. So DDL, DML, PCL, and what other things? So these are some common. So DDL, DML, or everything is create, delete, truncate, and everything. And DML is nothing but manipulation. So ingestion, updation, or select, and TCL is transaction, commit, rollback, like that. And after that, you'll be having this concepts of DBMS. So I can add this DBMS concepts, SQL and DBMS. So like normalizations, and joins, and then store procedures. Okay, so I'm just giving you a topic, but each topic has its own subtopics and have some detailed concepts to be explained here. So it will take around only 2 to 3 days to learn. It is very pretty much easy. Structured query language is a easy thing to learn. Don't worry about it. We will be having a session regarding this the later part. But you have to be aware of this because nowadays in technical MCQ itself they are starting with this DL and DML, and even they are asking some questions from joints because in the last in your for your seniors company from I don't know which company I don't know, but that company asked 3 questions from SQL, 3 questions from SQL in technical MCQ. That is in your first round of technical MCQ. So you should be aware of it. So apart from this, for so these are the core things that you have to be focusing more on programming and technical HRs, more on programming side. So the things that I'm explaining you have explained till now is mostly focused on your problem solving or first round or second round or third round. So of your rounds, how to face an interview or what are the things that you have to prepare. Apart from this, you have all your academic subjects. There is software testing or software engineering, everything. So what are the things that you are going to core subjects? Your core subjects will be here and network and what? Mm, software engineering is there, software testing is there, networks is there, your web development, basic web development, web docs like web development in the sense it is like HTML, CSS, JavaScripts, jQuery, and what? At the time you so these are some added features. So these are you should be know what is what. So what is software engineering? Why what are the life cycle models? What are the cycles are there and how to use it? Ah, yes, one thing I missed out. Thank you. There is operating systems, OS, operating systems. So these operating systems, see these things, there is networks and operating system. These two are not commonly used by all the companies. Only a specific company focusing more on system development, like for example, MWR. MWR is a core EC company, which will mostly focus on this operating systems and networks. I hope CC and EC are here. So it is not only for CCEE, it is also open for CSE IT students also. But they will be mostly focusing on these types, mostly related to networks, operating systems, and also C programming. So they will not be focusing more on Java, Python, and everything. They'll be asking questions only on C. Yes. Okay. So I hope I have covered something or how to prepare for your drives. Is it clear? Is this clear? See, guys, please keep a note of it because the things that you want to learn, that is the first day I'm taking you because you have to keep a track of it. You have to keep a track of it, whether you are learning this or not. Because the first day itself, I'm telling all you these topics in a sense, so that you'll be aware what you're going to learn. Because if you are starting to learn, there's no stopping for it. Okay, please make a note of everything and start preparing from the first topic itself. Okay. Okay. So now just I'm saving it. Then we can start our session. Okay. Uh, okay, Dennis, maybe I can share this after the session. I'll be sharing these details after the either through WhatsApp or some other thing. Okay. Okay. So now back to our session. So, guys, I'm just giving you overview of it. What are things that you want to learn? So now we are going into data structures. Okay, sir. So before starting with data structures, uh, what is the storage structures? Guys, is my voice is clear and if my screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, because thank you. Memory structures representing DS in memory. Sir, data structure, go on, sir. We are not going to data structure. Sir, what is storage structure? Or you may be aware of the storage classes, storage structures, and storage classes. You can also
Main
explain about
memory,
storage
cache,
classes. Yes,
main memory, cache, stack.
super. Yes, correct. So we have these keywords. I hope you even see in keyword we have 4 keywords for storage classes. register, auto,
Cache, main
Extern, sir.
memory.
extern,
Main memory.
and I have not main memory, it is volatile in C. Explaining in C. So these are the 4 keywords that will explain you about your storage classes. Yes, static. Okay, sir, I hope everyone is aware of this. What is this register? What is this auto? What is this extend? I hope so. So so maybe I can show you actually. I'm just opening an Excel. As your friend suggested, so maybe this I'm just okay. Okay. So consider this is my RAM. RAM is nothing but my main memory. So there is a main memory. So I'm considering my RAM sizes of 8 GB or 4 GB. So normally memory will start from starting in the 0000 and goes up to the maximum of the size. Okay. So I'm just representing it as 0x000. 000. It is starting from 0x000 and goes up to, if I'm considering it as a 4 GB RAM, then I'm be considering this as what is that? Okay, something 4056. I'm keeping it as a 4056. So this is the normal memory that is available in our system, even a mobile or a system. So this is the normal memory. What are the things or what are the things that we are going to do in our system? For everything, the memory is going to be initially allocated from this, and then it will be moved to the respective parts. Yes, this memory is normally split into 4 parts. So one is register. Next is my cache memory, followed by is my stack. Sorry, and followed by it will be my heap. See, this is just for an example. This is not the same order or same way that it will be arranged. But normally everything will be, every memory will be split into like this. This is a register part. And this will be your cache. And this will be your stack. And this will be your heap. So nowadays heap will take more space in compared to stack and cache. So in nowadays the systems heap memory will be occupying more memory than compared to stack, and but initially the stack was the highest memory in the initial stage, but right now the stack memory has been reduced and the heap memory has been increased. So this is our normal memory, our RAM will be splitted up. Okay, sir. So what is the use of register? What is the use of register?
No,
Every memory
sir,
has
high speed
yes,
memory. சொல்லலாம்.
high speed.
Sir, high speed memory. So data transfer will be more compared in register compared to other memory locations.
Good. Any other answers? Any other solutions? Okay, so see, consider register is nothing but my index. In every book I have an index, correct? What is the purpose of that index? What is the use of that index?
To know the address of the
Yes. So these are the memories that is available in my system, and these are the memories that is already occupied, and these are the memories that are free. All these details are stored in register. So register is the part where my system will check which memory is available for my use. So that is the first part to access. So that is the reason why it is very fast to access. Yes, if I want to create a variable, so I want to create a variable like this. I want to create a variable in QA, and I'm assigning a value 10 here. So first, if a system sees or if a process sees my variable in QA equal to, I'll increase the font size. Okay, so whenever I'm trying to create a variable, what happens is my system or my process will go and see for my register. Saying for my register and what is the memory size that I require. So here for integer, we normally consider it as for 2 bytes. So where this 2 bytes is available, where this 2 bytes is available. So first it will take the memory location from the register and go to that location and create a variable at that location and put the reference for it in the register. So this is how a normal memory will be created in a system. Is it clear? So that is the reason why register is fast access. Because if I want to save a value, sir, instead of I don't want to create a memory inside my cache block or my start block. I just want to create it inside my register. So how can I do it? I can use this keyword register. So that is the reason we are using this register key. So if I want to create a memory inside the register itself, I want to save a value. So this value is going to be repeatedly used, or this is the value that I'm going to take for n number of processes repeatedly. So I don't want to go and check for each and every time in a separate memory location. I want to save this memory inside my register so that I can access this value easily. So these types of values alone saved in register, because register could not be used more frequently because that may reduce your performance. But for some special cases, you'll be using this register keyword to save the value in this register memory itself. And the second thing is my cache memory. So what is this cache memory? I hope register is clear.
சார் சார் கேட்ச் மெமரி வந்துட்டு அதாவது இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் ப்ராசஸ் ஏதாச்சும் மெயின் ப்ராசஸ் இருந்துச்சுன்னா சார் அது ஆக்சுவலாக என்ன பண்ணோம் அப்படின்னா கேட்ச் மெமரி மூலிமா லைட் அதாவது ஸ்மால் ஸ்டோரேஜ் தான் சார். பட் ஆனால் என்ன மெயினாக திங்ஸ் வேணுமோ அது மட்டும் கேட்ச் மெமரியில் ஸ்டோர் ஆகும் சார். ஸோ குயிக்காக மெமரிக்குள்ளே ஆக்சஸ் பண்ணுறதை விட கேட்ச் மெமரியை ஆக்சஸ் பண்ணி சீக்கிரமாக எக்ஸிக்யூட் ஆயிடும் சார் ப்ரோக்ராம்.
Good, good, good. Yes. So before going to cache, I want to know whether you understand what is register and how it works. What is a register in the memory and how it works? Is that clear? Come on, guys. 130 numbers are there. I want you all to post a message. Just put whether you understood it or clear. Just put it in the chat box. And now only 5% is right. So only 5 is there online. 20, 22, 25. One. Yes, 60. Only half of the crowd is alive. What about the remaining? 60, 65. Come on, guys, wake up. Put a message, put a chat, whether you clear, whether you understood it or not. Okay, around 80, 85 students are there. See, around 130, I got only 80 responses. Guys, if anything I'm asking, please post it in chat box so that only we know that you are there or not. Yes, because the remaining, I don't know your how you're going to utilize it or not. Because this is very, very important. This is the starting session and it's very important. Friends, please tell your friends who are not listening or attending. I hope you know who are all the thing, who are the persons who have messaged you. If your friends are not listening, please help him to understand it clearly. So, okay. So now the catch, coming to catch. Normally, for um, every memory will be mostly created only in these two parts, either in stack or in heap. So these are the two parts that memory will be created. And it will not directly go and create a memory in heap in general, if it is not specified. Actually, stack is a part where every memory will be initially created. Initially, the memory will be created in stack, and this stack memory's reference will be saved in this register. But what happens is, sir, I'm creating an application as a calculator. I'm just going to repeatedly use some variables repeatedly, for example, for addition or subtraction or for some multiplication. So these are the some keywords or some values that I'm going to repeatedly use. So these are the values that I'm going to repeatedly use, or I'm going to access it more oftenly. I'm just going to call my add function, or I'm going to call my subtract function, or I'm going to call my multiple function, or I'm going to have a division function. So these functions, or I'm going to have it repeatedly so that I can do the process little more fast. So what happens is these types of memories will be shifted from stack memory to cache memory. The things that we are going to repeatedly use, the things that we are going to more oftenly use for that functions, this memory will be moved to my cache. Is it clear? Only for specific functions, not for all the functions. So later, sir, actually, catch is a short-term memory. So whenever a system refreshes, the cache memory will be clear. Again, the original memory will be saved in stack. Only the reference of it will be there. Okay, so what is this heap? So heap is nothing but a long-term memory. So this is the part where our major applications runs. For example, if I'm opening an Excel, the Excel application is going to run for a long time until I'm going to close it. So inside my Excel, I have so many functions like increasing the font size or changing the font size or changing the font color or highlighting. So these are some functions that are inside my Excel application. But Excel is an application which is going to run for a long time. For these types of applications, the memory will be created inside my heap. So heap for nothing but a long-term memory. Stack is a short-term memory. Cache is little more less than stack. Yes. And register, which has an index of all the memory which is already used or available. So this is how system's memory will be allocated. So this is how normally a system's memory will be there. To access these memories, sir, I want to create a variable here. I want to create a variable here. I want to create a variable here, or I want to create a value here. So to access these memories, for that we are using these keywords. So register, auto, extend, volatile, static. I hope everyone aware of this static keyword. So static is a keyword which is used to create a long-term memory. So long-term memory in the sense the memory will be created inside my heap. Correct? Yes. So pointer variables. The variable that I'm going to create using pointers. It is also a long-term memory. until my process getting over, all this pointers will be created inside my heap. So that is also created inside my heap. So similarly, stack is nothing but that is a default location. Stack memory is my default location where all the memories will be created for each and every function. Since we can see everything is a function. So in function, if I want to create a single variable, int a, then that will be created inside my stack. Int b, that will be created inside my stack. Int c, that will be created inside my stack. Every memory will be created inside my stack. For each functions, the memory will be allocated inside my stack, unless I'm specifying it as a long-term memory, like using my static keyword. Yes. So these are the storage classes or my storage structure. The variables, the variable that we are creating are my storage structures. The variable how I'm going to create, either it is going to be a normal single variable or it is going to be a n number of variables. Okay, I have a question like this, sir. Um, I'm going to create a variable like this. I'm just creating a five variables, A, B, C, D, E. How the memory will be allocated for this, sir? How the memory will be allocated for this in my memory and where it will be created. Yes, inside my stack. Okay, sir. My question is whether it is going to be a continuous memory allocation or it is going to be a separate memory allocation. Non-continuous. Separate. Okay, anyone check this? Have anyone checked out this? Okay, so maybe I can decipher it. So what happens is I'm just trying to debug this line. So how a compiler and a processor will understand this syntax. So normally a syntax will always start from my semicolon, correct? It will always start from my semicolon. So what happens is if I have a my semicolon, yes, in C language, it will always start from my semicolon. So this is my starting point of my sentence or statement, correct? So first, whenever I see my semicolon, after that it start to read, understand that. So first I'm starting with E. So E, I doesn't know what is mean by E. So what happens is it will create a stack and push that variable. So inside my stack, what happens is it will push the variable E. After that, it have a comma operator. So comma is just an operator to represent a separate statement. After that, going for my next. So next is going to be a variable D. So now also my system doesn't know what is in D. So D will be pushed inside my stack. Yes. After that, I have a comma operator. So comma is to separate my statement. So next is going to be C. So till now I don't know what is in by C. Correct? Now the C will be pushed inside my stack. Now I'll be taking the next variable. Next variable is nothing but variable B. So variable B will be paid. And till now the processor or compiler doesn't know what is in the P. What is in the P? Sorry, B. So he'll be pushing that into my stack. After that, he'll be taking the next variable A, and A is also I doesn't know what is in the A. So A will be pushed inside my stack. So now after this, I have a data type. So what is this? It is an integer data type. So now the compiler knows what is in the int. Correct? So what is in the int? Hello? Guys? Yes, integer data type. So for integer, how much memory will be allocated in C? Okay, normally you take it as a 2 bits or 4 bits, that depends on the system. So for example, I'm considering it as a 2 bits. For example, I'm considering it at 2 bytes. Yes, depends on the system, it will be vary. For 8-bit system, it is going to be 2 bytes, and for 16-bit system, it is going to be 4 bytes, like that. So that later we can see, but for our understanding, I'm just keeping it as a 2 bytes. For just for our understanding, it's not going to be same for all the systems. For our understanding. So I have to create an individual memory, but for how many variables I have to create? I have to create it for 5 because all these variables are inside my stack. So total, how much memory should I allocate? So totally 2 bytes for 5 variables. So totally it will take 10 memory bytes. So this is how a memory will be created. Now tell me whether this is going to be a continuous memory or it is going to be a separate memory. Good. We come to a conclusion. Still, do you think this is going to be a separate memory? Okay, maybe I can explain you this. Okay. Okay, I'm just using an online emulator that is Replit. Okay, maybe I can just close this because this will take a large amount of memory. So I just open code blocks. That will be fine for it. But just a minute, it's opening. Okay, until this opens, so I just want to know whether the way I'm teaching is clear, whether it is understandable, or do I want to change the way of teaching? Okay, I hope everyone know what is this code blocks. So code blocks is a C compiler, the general C compiler IDE, which is available for Windows operating system. So if you are familiar with Linux or Unix, you'll be already having this GCC compiler. If you're not familiar with uh, GCC compilers, Windows doesn't have GCC compiler, it has Turbo C compiler. Yes, yes. But mostly nowadays all the companies are migrated to GCC. So Turbo C is not commonly used in all this. So there are some IDEs that are using this GCC compiler. One of that IDE is this code blocks. We have also dev C++ like that. So which will also support GCC compilers. But for your practice, if you are using your systems and you want to practice C, then I suggest you go for this either code blocks or dev C++. Mm, maybe Turbo may be fast because it can support only Windows platform. It will not be supporting for all other platforms. Okay, but that is not commonly used here right now. But if you are practicing, make sure that you are practicing with GCC, not with Turbo C. Okay, what is this? Where is my compilers? Okay, I have created a inside my test. I have mine. Okay, I hope the font is visible. Yes. Okay, so the same sentence I'm going to create here. A, comma, B, comma, C, comma, D. Now, E. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to print the address of each thing. So just how can I print this address? Address of each variable. How can I print this address? The location where it is saved. How can I use it? How can I print it? What are the ways there to print an address of a variable? And is to represent my location. Percentage P. Who said it? Sandhya. Yes. Percentage P is one of the valid answer. Percentage U is also one of the valid answer. Percentage U, what happens is it converts into an unsigned integer. It will convert my address into an unsigned integer and then it will print it. But percentage P is the valid answer that will give me the address as it is. So right now I'm going to give it as a percentage P, B percentage P, percentage P, B percentage P, and E percentage P, followed by ampersand A, ampersand B, ampersand C, ampersand D, ampersand E. Just I'm printing this address. That's it. I'm not going to do anything. So my system is a 64-bit system. I hope it uses 8 bits of memory for one memory byte. Okay, for one integer. Okay, let's check what happens. Just build and run. Okay. I don't know whether you're able to see this or not.
It's visible, sir.
Yes. So what is the difference between these two? I hope everyone starts with the same address. Only the last two things are changing. It is taking 4 bytes of memory for each string. So 10, 14, 18, C, 0C. I hope everyone can see the starting address. Only the last two references are changing. Now you guys tell me whether this is going to be a continuous or it is not continuous. I hope everyone can understand this. So this is an octa representation, sorry, XR representation. It's a XR representation, and the address are starting from 0061F1 FF. So this is the address where my A variable is saved. So it is starting at 1C, and after that it is taking 18, 14, 10, and 0C. Yes, guys. Now you tell me. So this is the continuous memory allocation, or it is a separate memory allocation? Correct. This is a continuous memory allocation. Unless my memory is not able to accommodate a continuous memory allocation, then only it go for separate memory allocation. Please keep that in mind, guys. If I have more than 1,000 variables in this order, if I have more than 1,000 or 10,000 or 1 lakh variables like this, from A to 1 lakh A variables, if my memory doesn't have continuous memory allocation, then only it goes for my separate memory allocation. Until this, it will give only the continuous memory allocation. Yes, Hari Krishna has noted it, but it is in reverse order. Correct? Hari Krishna Murthy. Good. So what happens is it is giving the last variable. That is, as I said, each variable is put inside my stack. So in stack, the variable that goes at the last will comes out first. So the last memory will be allocated for the first variable. So I hope you understand this. So what happens is continuous 10 variables will be allocated, and whenever from my stack I'm removing the first variable will be moved to the last position. That is going to be my last position. That is the reason that why it is arranged in a reverse order. Why the memory is given in a reverse order. So that is the reason. Is this clear, guys? See, this is one starting point, sir. Why, sir? What is the use of this? Why, sir? I want to learn this. Now, you guys tell me, what is the difference between these two statements? One is A, B, C, D, E, and also ARR of 5. So, in the first statement, also, I'm just going to create 5 integer variables. And in second statement, also, I'm just going to create a 5 integer variables. Now, you guys tell me, what is the difference between these two things? I hope everyone's familiar with arrays. Yes, continuous block for memory, correct. And ABCDE is also a continuous memory block. Good. Number of variables is reduced. Number of variables is reduced. If both use the same continuous memory allocations, then why, sir? Why is there? The one thing is we are reducing the number of variables. Yes, number of variables is reduced. Okay. Not only that, I hope you can understand it clear if I use this. Yes, memory are allocated continuously. Correct. But there are some little changes in here. So just you can see this, then you can understand this. Okay, just I'm taking these two variables. Just I'm putting the address of. Okay, sir. So now you tell me, sir. So what is the difference between that A, B, C, D, E and ARR of 0, 1, and 2? Guys, is my voice is clear and my screen is visible? So just compare the last two characters so that you can understand it clearly. So here it is starting from 0C, 101418 1C, but here F8, FC, and then 00. Maybe I can add it, then C. I hope you can take these last three characters EF8, EFC, and then F00. So it will tell you clearly what is happening here. Yes, in forward, correct. And then in reverse, correct, correct, correct. So this is the reason. See, this is not just a normal storage structure. Yes, array is also a storage structure. It is also giving me memory where to save a value, correct? But also it is telling how to save the memory. In this type, in A, B, C, D, E, when I'm declaring a variable, I'm not telling that you have to assign the first value only to this variable. You have to assign a value only for this variable. I have not given it, but it has taken its own way of allocation and it has given it, correct? It has taken its own way how to assign a value or how to assign a variable and where to create it. Either the system or the processor decides itself and it has given me the memory. But if I'm using an array, I'm not telling the system or what I'm telling my processor that I need 5 integer memory location, and in that the 0 is going to be my starting address and the first value should be or first memory should be given to this 0th index. Yes. So what we are doing, we are not only creating a memory, but also telling that how to save that memory. Yes. Can you guys understand this? So this is the reason why we are calling this arrays as a arrays as both storage structure and data structure. Yes, yes. Array is called as both storage structure and also data structure. Storage structure in this, it is not only giving me where to save the memory, but also telling my system how to save my memory or how to save my data. Yes. So this is a just an introduction. So now coming back to my first question, sir, what does mean by data structure, sir? With this example, you can, I hope you can tell me something. What is in the data structure? So because array is a combination of both storage structure. We know what is in the storage structure, and we also know what is in the data structure. Just in my sense, I have given you yes, correct. Way to store a data. Super. Next, any more answers? I'm expecting more answers. Order of sorted, not order of sorted. This not order of okay, order of storing, sorry. Storing data. Good. Organizing data. Hurry. Organizing data. Correct. Yes. I've got only two answers. arranging data in an order. Okay. Super. Data structure enables us to store data at our desired location and access it. Organizing and storing data. Correct. Good. Super. So, yes, data structure is nothing but organizing my data efficiently. Super. In an efficient way. Correct. Super. I have a n number of data. See, then just for example, we have given only 5 data, but let's take a record. So in our college system, we have ERP systems. So for a or for a single student, minimum we require of 50 variables for storing a student details, starting from his name to his last semester mark and his calculating CGPA or his extra performance activities, extra points like that. Minimum of 50 variables we require. Correct. So is it possible just to create variables alone and to save all these values? Will that be a good way of approach to save data? For single student, we require minimum of 50 variables. When coming to a college or an organization, we have more than 2,500 students. So inside 2,500 students, for each student, if it takes minimum of 50 bytes, 50 variables, then calculate it yourself. So 50 into 2,500 students. It will take a large amount of memory. And it is very difficult for us to organize these data. Yes, yes, guys. So um, with this, we can have a little break here. Yes, just think about it. Gayatri ma'am,
Yes, sir.
ma'am ஒரு 10 minutes break கொடுக்கலாமா இல்ல
Yes, sir. 10 to 15 minutes விட்டுருவாங்க sir.
ஓகே மேம் இப்போ 11:40க்கு ஜாயின் பண்ணிடலாமா மேம்
Yes, sir.
ஓகே கைஸ் take a 10 minutes of break. Mostly 15 minutes is enough, but join by 11:40. Okay, I'm giving you 20 minutes time. Just take 20 minutes time. Join back by 11:40. Make sure everyone is present. The link will be open. Okay. Guys. Hello. I'm audible. சூப்பர். அப்படியே மெசேஜ் போடுங்க பாப்போம், எல்லாத்தையும் வர சொல்லி சொல்லுங்க பாப்போம். டைம் ஆச்சு பாருங்க. நம்ம செஷனே இன்னும் போகல, உள்ள மெயின் செஷன் மெயின் கண்டென்ட்டுக்கே போகல இன்னும். சீக்கிரம் பா. ஓகே. Okay, until everyone joins, is there any feedbacks that I can get? Or any doubts that you have? சார் எனக்கு இது டவுட்டா இருக்கு சார், இல்ல சார் எனக்கு இது இந்த மாதிரி எடுத்தா நல்லா இருக்கும். Anything that you want to share? Or any questions that you want to ask? Anything. Anything you can ask me. Yes. No questions. சார் இந்த கம்பெனிக்கு ஏதாவது ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்றதுக்கு ஏதாவது ஸ்பெசிஃபிக்கா இருக்கா? எதுனாலும் நீ கேட்கலாம் என்கிட்ட. இல்ல பிளாட்ஃபார்ம்ஸ், என்னென்ன பிளாட்ஃபார்ம்ஸ் நான் ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்றதுக்கு யூஸ் பண்ணலாம், சார் எப்படி ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ணலாம்? Any questions you can ask me. Pooja, I hope maximum talking in English.
Yes, sir.
Anything that is specified in Tamil related to concepts? Anything concept? Is there anything that I teach you in Tamil in concepts like arrays, storage structures? Okay, I will just keep on with English itself, but just for interaction, I just asked it. Okay, any practice rules? Super. Okay, I will just explain you the practice rules. I hope everyone have this skill ID. Skill ID login. I hope everyone have it. So my suggestion, my personal opinion. So where to start? My personal opinion. It is not a standard. It's a, this is the way that you have to practice. That is not it. But my suggestion is, because we already have these resources, we can use this efficiently. I hope many has already started to work with data structures. Already many have explored the data structures. So what is data structures or how to work on it is it. Okay, so if you log into a skill rack, see, I'll be giving you, see, I will not just focus to one platform, because one platform will give you a glimpse of their own idea. But the company for each year, each company will create their own questions. That questions will be reflected in these sites in the next upcoming years only. Because that if your senior is attending now, their questions will be updated in the next year while you are starting to face an interview. At that time only you may get the questions. So my personal opinion is you don't want to stick to one platform. So you have so many platforms, but some standard platforms that I can help you to solve it. So first start with this, because he has excellent tutorials. So first programming tutorials. If you go for in your home, you'll be having this programming. Inside the programming, you have programming tutorials. First start with this. I hope everyone has completed this, because from the first year, I hope you're all working on it. I hope everyone has completed this tutorial part. If not, no issues. Start with this. Data structures C hands-on. This will help you in a step-by-step way. So there are totally 10 chapters available, and they will be explaining you what is linked list, what is array implementation, everything. So we'll be actually we are going to see it. We are going to see what is it, what is it, what is it. Everything we'll be seeing here. But if you want to practice on your own, so this is the starting point I'm learning, or this is the first time I'm learning, then that is the tutorials, data structures is your first place where you have to start. After that, sir, I have completed that, sir. So now I have to practice more related to it, more related to this data structures concepts. Then you go for this practice tracks, programming tracks. So first we started with programming tutorials. Now we are focusing with programming tracks. So in this programming tracks, you'll be having this data structures module. See, data structures and algorithms. This module, data structures and algorithm modules, you'll be having all the same concepts with some implemented problems. Yes. So start with this data structures and algorithms module. After that, focus on this product company. So this will also mostly combining all these techniques for data structures and algorithms. So you'll be combining all these companies. So later we can go for this green product company. So this purely focused on algorithms. Algorithm. So what is algorithm? How to use it? How efficiently we can use it. Yes. So these are your starting points. This is not your end point. This is your starting point. Please keep it in mind, guys. So you have to practice on this. Oh, sorry. I was sharing my screen. Okay, sorry. So first here I'll be sharing you this. So first log into your skill rack. Then I hope everyone has completed it. I'm thinking that because we are working from first years. So programming tutorials. So in programming tutorials, you'll be having this data structures, C course. So here you'll be having 10 modules, and each module have minimum of 5 to 10 problems. So 5 to 10 problems will be there. Just practice it. They'll be explaining you the concepts. So they'll be explaining you what is happening here or how to do it. And then they also give you hints and solutions here. Just start here. If you are not yet completed this, I hope many has completed this. If you're not yet completed, please start from here. After completing it, see, go for this programming. Inside it, you'll be having programming tracks. So in programming tracks, you'll be having this. You'll be having. So I hope everyone has solved all these problems. C programming tracks, everything, because you're working on it. You're getting this course regularly. It's good. So keep on practicing. So don't think these problems are very simple, so I don't want to practice it like that. Don't think ever like that. Even if it is a very basic problem, try it, solve it, get accepted. Don't make any rhetoric sense like, so it's a very easy problem so that I can solve it anywhere, anytime like that. Don't think that. The starting in one module, just complete it and then go to next module. Don't skip any problems there. Okay, so here data structures and algorithms. So here we will be having all these topics. So stack, heap, linked list, everything will be here. Binary tree, sorting algorithm. So everything related to problems. So here inside the stack, we will be having some more problems related to that. So after completing this data structures and algorithms, you can go for this product companies. So this product company is combination of both data structures and algorithms and some repeated questions that are asked in product companies. I hope they'll be listing with their company names. I think so. Okay, no, they are not listed with company names, but these questions, see, yeah, they are given the names. So which company they have asked it. So they're given mostly Zoho and Amazon companies, and also some companies above 5 lakh packages. Okay, so most problems that are asked in Amazon or Zoho are listed here. So this is a combination of, it's not purely data structures, this is a combination of both data structures and algorithms. So first I suggest you to start solving this and then go for this. But before starting this, I want you all to complete the tutorial sections. So that will be your first point of starting. Okay, so next is after completing this, you can choose your platform. So there are so many platforms there. Um, see, regarding platforms means, so each person is familiar with the someone is, sir, I'm comfortable with this UI, someone is comfortable with this UI, someone is comfortable with this UI. But I'm just telling you, these are the websites that are available for your practice. It will be very useful for you. So HackerRank, HackerRank, and CodeChef. So these are common websites. These three platforms mostly have their common questions, but with extra test cases. Each platform has, see, for HackerRank, there will be a 30 to 50 test cases for normal problems. In HackerRank, it will be around 100 to 150 test cases. But in CodeFetch, it will be a little higher, like from 1000 to 1500 test cases. Like that. But mostly the problems are going to be same. Mostly all the platforms is going to have the same set of problems. What is the difference in it is CodeFetch and these three platforms have segregated the questions into the types like algorithms, like data structures, like what mathematic related questions, like that. They have segregated and they are combined into a single bundles, like how to practice it or how to understand the language, like that. But in courses and HackerRank, there will be no language specific, but HackerRank has some language specific courses. HackerRank has some language specific courses, but Hacker Earth and CodeChef are more focused on company questions. So questions that are asked in your previous academic years or previous interviews or some other times. So the difficulty of the questions will be from 2 to 5. It will be from 2 to 5. So 5 is hard and 2 is starting medium. Like it. So like Hacker Earth and CodeChef will be of 2 to 5. And for HackerRank, it has difficulty from 1 to 5. It has from basic problems and it also having some advanced problems. So these are, you can choose any platform. You can choose any platform, but I suggest you to start with HackerRank. Because he has a segregated modules, he has segregated courses, and he has given a separate step-by-step process to solve or understand it clearly. So after completing any one of this, you can go for lead code. So LeetCode is one of the best sites that they are listing so many of beautiful problems. So many problems that are very interesting, very challenging to solve. So these are some problems that are repeatedly asked in companies, and how we already started to work on LeetCode. Because LeetCode has in maybe each question they will be listing these question was these types of question was asked in these companies. I hope there are totally 1,700 problems, 750 problems, I think so. Totally LeetCode has listed total 1,750 problems, I think so. So this will be combination of all from basics to advanced. So he mostly focus on, he's not going to be a full-fledged programming. If you don't want to write a complete coding starting from int main to last one, he just wants you to write only the functions. It will be like a normal how the company expects you to write the logics. So the same set of questions is here. It will be in this lead code. So not only this, so lead code is, so these are mainly focusing on your placements for your company preparations. I'm suggesting you these websites. So apart from this, sir, I'm really interested in. Okay, no, is Rishi here? Rishi.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Okay, sir. Okay. So these are some websites that you have to practice for your placement, for related to placement or company test. Apart from this, if you are interested to, sir, I want to go and compete for some other, like I want to be placed in Google or Microsoft or some other company or some ACM ICPC contest. For that, I suggest you have online judge. Online judge. So these are the websites or have the expert problems. Online judge or Spear Online Judge, SPOJ. These two sites have an excellent problem set. So in online judge itself, you will be having more than 10,000 problems here, and every problems are asked in ACM ICPC contest. And all the companies, which are going to take new questions, they will refer to these two sites. Normally they refer to those online judges. So the online judge, initially it was called as UVA online judge. Online judge. But now they have changed into an online judge platform. So you can register it and you can open a problem and you can start solving it. So these are the two sites that I want you all to practice, because this is the starting point. These are something that you have to focus on understanding the logics, algorithms, and what are the algorithms are there and how to use it. And one more thing, the solution for all the problems in these sites are available in net, in a platforms like in YouTube or in a forum or in any website. You can refer it. All the solutions are there. But the thing is, you want to understand it and then you have to solve it. That is the reason. See, if you're starting to solve in this online dish, most questions, most of the questions in Google or Microsoft or any top companies, you refer to it, that questions are from this online dish. Because this online dish, they are creating questions. They are the persons that they are creating new questions, new strategy, new things. You go and see for the site, then you'll be understanding more about it. Yes, guys. So, sir, I'm focusing on more higher end package companies and I want to place on these companies. Then I suggest you to start this. So this is a way that you have to practice on it. And to practice on it, the sufficient time is not enough, because only you have only 5 months or 6 months of time. So within the 6 months of time, is it able to solve all the problems in this? It is a little bit difficult. But as I said, these three platforms have more similar problems, And LeetCode is also very similar problems, but he will be focusing more on company perspective. And these are the questions that are expert level questions. It's very interesting to learn and very interesting to solve. And when you'll be learning for each question, you'll be learning a new concept in it, how to solve it and how to use it. So everything will be new in solving these two platforms. So one is Spear Online. So Spear Online is also mostly comes under this LeetCode kind of thing. Spear Online it also will be very similar to LeetCode platform. So go for this online judge, UVA online judge. It is one of the best site. It has very hard problems and also easy problems are also there. Just try it out. And so these are the sites that I suggest you to practice it. So apart from this, you already have, I hope you already have access to Skillrack and Edmatrix and then eBox. I hope these are the sites that you are currently working on it. You already have credentials for these three sites. So which we are using in our platform, which we are using in our organization. We already have this login credentials. Yes. And apart from this, you can also learn in Geeks for Geeks. See, why I'm not suggesting Geeks for Geeks is he has a uh, very big resource. He has a very large resource, and what he did is he just added the question. He doesn't organize it correctly. That is my perspective. Don't consider it as, but but nowadays they are organizing into courses and they are training it. But you have so many problems there, but the problems are not little bit clear. So that is the thing that I felt in this Geeks for Geeks. You can go and learn, you can go and practice in Geeks for Geeks. But apart from Geeks for Geeks, you also have these websites. You can practice on it. I hope I have answered your questions. So back to start and how to start. Is it clear, guys? Yes. And I already told your friends like maybe persons who met me and talked to me already know these things. I already shared you the details. I hope you are working on it. And if you're not yet started to working on it, there is no rush in it. Just go start working on it. It's an open platform. You can just go and sign up and you can start using in it. Yes, please. Okay, shall we go into a session? Okay, before going into a session, any questions? Any questions up to this? Okay, only 128 has turned up. No questions, no doubts, no questions. You can ask me any questions, sir. How to prepare, how to learn. If there is any question, you can ask me. Then we can. Okay, so fine, sir. So then we can go for data structures. Okay, so why we are going for data structures? To organize my data efficiently, so that I can use it efficiently in my application. Yes. Example, we started with ERP application. Okay, sir. So usually we started with this structures, correct? So structures. So why we are going for structures, sir? So we started first. We started with arrays, and we know what is pointers. I'm I'm considering that you are aware of these arrays and pointers because there is a thing that it is explained you clearly by technical staffs in the previous semesters. Yes. So I hope the last topic that you learned was structures. Yes, we can use all types of data sets, data types, more elements with different data types. Super, sir. Correct, sir. So, structure. What is the another name for structure, sir? Is there any other name for structure available in C? Correct. Use different data types. Correct. We can create node using structures. Correct. More elements with different data types. Union. So union is a different concept. So union is to reduce the memory that is used by structures. So if I don't want to use a large memory spaces, then I can go for union. So structure and union are more or less same. Only the memory part is different. How the memory is used, that is going to be different in structures and union. But there is one more name for this structure and union. What is it? No, it is not containers. So we are clubbing some different data types into a single unit. If as you said it, so we are clubbing so many of data types into a single unit. Type def, no. User defined data type. Correct. Vijay. That is correct. It's a user defined data type. User defined data type. Sir, some primitive data types that they have given, sir. That is like integer, float, double, character, short, everything is given by the designer of or the developer of C. He has developed some primitive data types and he has given us. If I want to create my own data type, if I want to create my own data type, I want to create, sir, I'm having a student. So student is going to be a data type. So I want to create a student. So this student should have these types of variables in it. So then I have to create my own data type. So if I want to create a user defined data type, then I'll be going for the structures or unions. Is it clear? So structure or union, or this is called as user defined data type. Okay, sir. So now I'll be creating the structure. So what is the syntax to create a student structure? So how to create a student structure? Yes, by using this keyword struct followed by the structure name. So here we are going to define the name as student. Okay, sir. So inside my structure student, so I'll be having my values that are going to relate to a single student. So here I'm taking an example as int roll number. So character array name, and then I can add n numbers. So like float mark one, mark two, mark three, and then I can have a float average, and then I can have a character CGPA. So similarly, I can add n numbers. I can add n number of variables. All these things are going to represent a single student. Correct? All those things is going to represent a single student. So at the end of my character, I'll be enclosing it with a semicolon. It states that I have defined my own data type. Yes. So as it is, so if I want to create an integer variable, how I'll be creating an integer variable? Just to create an integer variable, how I'll be creating it? A normal data type followed by the variable name. So there is going to be variable name v1. This is the normal primitive data type will be created. Similarly, if I want to create a variable for user defined data type, for a user defined data type, so I should start with this name student. So does student mean anything to compiler? He doesn't know what is in the student. So I have to specify him that student is a struct. So student is a structure. So student, I'm just going to create a variable for a student. So if in general, sir, we have created a student data type, sir. So I can directly create a variable as student S1. They create it like this. First, the compiler reads semicolon and after that S1. So S1 is a variable and after that followed by a student. So till now, the compiler doesn't know what is in the student. So whenever I'm going to create a variable for student, it should be prefixed with struct keyword. So that is my user defined data type. So student is a type that is created by the developer or the user. It's a user defined type. To represent that, I have to use this keyword struct. So this is how we'll be creating a single variable for a structure. Is it clear? Up to this, everyone is clear. And I hope everyone know how this memory will be allocated. So here let's consider for integer it is going to be 2 bytes, and for character it is going to be 1 byte, and it is going to be 3, and for float 4, so 4 3s are 12. So it will take total of 12 bytes, and for average it's going to be 4, that is going to be 12, and for character 1 character, so that is going to be 1. So total it will take around what 6, 66, 68, and 69. So total for a single student it will take around 69 bytes. Just for a rough calculation I have given it. Yes. So here for integer variable it will allocate a memory size of 2 bytes. Correct? I have taken as an example as 2 bytes, but here for S1, it will allocate around 69 bytes, continuous bytes. So this is how a memory will be created for a single structure. Yes. So normally we are not going to use some random variables because I have 2,500 students. Correct. I have 2,500 students in my organization. So I cannot create 2,500 variables individually. So what will we be doing? So we are starting to organize our data in some specific format. Correct? We are going to start to organize my data. So whenever I'm going to organizing, I'm telling that I'm going to organize my data, then the starting point for my organizing my data is my arrays. Correct? Because before arrays, there is no way that this value should be stored here. This value should be stored here. You are not given anything, just a variable and the value, variable and the value, variable and the value. So this is where you are stored the value. So yes, to organize my data, then we will be starting with this array. So what happens is, so in general, we'll be creating an integer array. So example, as it is. So integer array followed by array size. So this way we'll be normally creating an array. So this is a primitive predefined primitive data type array. So now I want to create my own data types array. That is user defined data types array. So the same way I'm going to create. So how I have created a variable, say keyword struct followed by the structure name and followed by the variable. So there is going to be a student array. So I'm just keeping the name as yes array of number of students. So number of students like, so here I'm just taking the example as 10. Correct? The same thing. So the data type. So here the data type is a primitive data type that is defined by the developer. So I've just used the same. But here I'm using my user defined data type to represent that instead of using it, I have defined it as a struct student. So this is my user defined data type followed by the variable name. So there is going to be array. So here I'm just taking this variable name as student array. There is a yes array followed by the memory, how many memory I'm going to create. So here I'm going to create how many memory. So this is the normal way of creating an array and storing or organizing my data. I hope everyone are familiar with this. Up to this, how to create a structure, how to create an structure array, and how to save the values in it. Is everyone clear up to this? Sorry, well, so I hope everyone has seen or practiced all these problems in the previous semesters itself. So structures and how to create a structure and how to do it. Yes, sir. Okay, sir. So, so then I can move to my next topic. So now I have one thing. Sir, we have created a student structure, sir. Tutor, sir. So in the sense, so we'll be creating a memory like this. Like, okay. I'm just considering this. So I'm just considering this as a single student. So this is S of 0. This is S of 1. This is S of 2. S of 3. So S of 3 is nothing but student array. Of, so this is how we have created it. S of 4 and S of 5. Okay, sir. So yes, if it is a single 5 student, then that is no issue, sir. If I have 2,500 students, then what will happen? Now you guys tell me, if I'm having, okay, not only 2,500 students, because if I have to take my ERP, I can take a record from my first student to my college, to the last student to my college. Correct? So it will be around more than 10,000 students. Correct? It will be more than 10,000 students. So if I am creating a normal array to save a student, what will happen? What are the things that I'll be facing here? Do you guys get my scenario here? So up to now we have explored only this array concept. So for example, I'm taking this array and I'm just having a scenario like if I have a more than 10,000 students, what are the drawbacks that I can face here? First thing, as we already seen an example, if there is no continuous memory allocation, if there is no continuous memory is available, then will this memory will be created. See, initially for single student it will take around 69 bytes. Correct. So 69 into 10,000. I'm just putting a rough calculation. So totally I will be requiring of 69,000 memories, continuous memory blocks. Correct. If there is no continuous memory block available in my memory, then will this memory will be created? Will this array will be created? No. This is the first drawback I'm going to face. Second, super sir. Second thing is, yes, as your friend suggested, so insertion and deletion is a little bit difficult. So for example, I have added 10 students or 20 students. So now the student at the index 2 or the index 3 or a third student who has entered my college wants to leave the college. Then what happens? I have to remove all his records and I have to replace his value or his memory with different person's values, correct? Or in general, what happens is all the values in array should be shifted one position previous to that location, correct? So for example, if this person is going to remove from my college, then what happens is I have to copy all this data to one step previous. Yes, to one step previous position. Yes, so similarly, so this is for insertion and sorry, this is for deletion. And if I want to insert, so sir, something I want to insert here. If I want to insert a specific position, then I have to traverse up to that position. And then after this, what I have to do, before entering my value, I have to swap this value to the next position, correct? I want to swap all the records one step next or to my next position. So then only I can make a free space there and then I can insert it. So the insertion and deletion in array are difficult. Okay, sir. Next thing. Accessing a particular student's info will be very difficult. Actually, in array it is quite easy because if we know the index of that specific student, if we know the index, then it will be very easy. If it doesn't know the index, then the accessing is difficult. Anthony, normal. So for your question, I have answered it. If we know the exact index where the student is located, then that will be easy access. If we doesn't know the index, then it is very difficult. For example, if we only know the roll numbers, so he doesn't know the student's index, then at that time accessing that student is little bit difficult. Okay, later that we discuss in detail in the next sessions, like in the upcoming sessions. But in my consideration, I consider these two are major difficulties. or the major problem that we normally face in array? Yes or no? And also, for example, here I have created only 10,000 memory blocks. If I want to add more 1,000 student records, is it possible for me to add it? No. So these are the drawbacks that are available in arrays or arrays, structure array. So what we use here is a structure array. It's a normal array. So here structure is nothing but a user defined data type. So the same int array is also going to be same, and student structure array is also going to be the same. So there is no much difference in it. So these are some common mistakes or some drawbacks that I'm facing whenever I'm starting to use my array. Okay, sir. Then how can I overcome this? How can I overcome this? So this is the question that they asked. So these are the drawbacks that are available there. And is there any solution that I can overcome these drawbacks? So now is the part what happens is they started to split this. So here what happens is, so this is my zeroth index, and this is my first index, and this is my second index, and this is my third index, fourth index, fifth index. Correct? So that I have given the index for each values. That's it. So this is a normal array. So this is my index, and this is my variable name. So just the variable or data unit. So here they are looking into it. This is a structure that we have created it. So a data with index, data with index, data with index. So what is the purpose of this index? What is this index is doing? So why this index is used, sir, in arrays? Okay, pointing the address. Is this index pointing the address? To access elements, correct. So where I'm going to start and who is the next element present in my array and where I'm going to move next. So these are the things that this index is going to give. So we know 0 is my starting index and 1 is the next index of my 0, 2 is the next index of my 1. So it is telling that this is a starting point, and from here you have to move here, from here you have to move here. It is not only arranging the structure, it is telling my processor that you have to move in this way so that you can access all the data. So that is the use of index. Yes, index is used to access the array elements, correct. Accessing the elements, correct, correct, correct. So, sir, this is the reason that index is used. So, why do you want to use it in the same way? Because index is the one who is going to tell me where it is going to start and who is the next person I'm going to visit. Yes. So, these are the two things that I require. Then, why do you want to keep it in a continuous manner? Can I break it? So this is the purpose of this index. So there is no other way. So 0 is going to be my starting address. Yes, 0 is going to be my starting address. So why do you want to use it in the same old manner? I can break it. No. Just I have to do only one thing. Just I have to represent which is my starting address. So here is my starting address. Then I have to represent as a head or my start. So start. So consider this as my 100x. And after this, I'm going to visit my second node. It is going to be in 200x. So instead of using this address index, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add the address of my next node. Similarly here. So the next node's address and the next node's address. Yes. And the last value. So last value is going to be. So here I'm just keeping it as another. Yes. So now you can tell me, I hope you can compare these two. Now you can tell me. So who's going to be my starting node here? So in this example, you can give me an example. So here, who's going to be my starting node? Please represent with the address. Yes, 100x. So to start, see, normally it uses this variable name as my starting address. But here, instead of having that, I'm just going to create a new variable as start, or I can keep it as a different name. So I'll be using a different name when implementing it. Okay, so this is my starting address. Okay, so who's going to be my next node after 100x? Who's going to be my next node? So who do I want to visit? 200x. So how do you came to know that that is 200x? I have represented that instead of using an index, I have given an address here. So instead of using 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 index, I'm just using the address of next node so that we can access my next node from my previous node. Yes, so these are the things that this index is doing. So where I have to start and who's the next one I'm going to visit. So instead of using index, what I'm going to use is I'm just using the address of node. Okay, sir. By doing this, what are the benefits I'm getting here? By splitting this, I hope you understand this. What I did is instead of using index, I have split it with the address of my next node. With the address of my next node. So after 200x, I'll be visiting the next node. So next node is going to be 300x. Okay, so 300. So after 300x, I'll be visiting the 400x. So in 400x, I'll be having the next node address that is going to be 500x. And in 500x, there is no next node available. So I'll just keep the value as null. Okay, sir. I have split my entire array into a single nodes or single structures or single memory blocks. So now this continuous memory allocation has been broken. Is it correct or wrong? Uh, Guys, is my voice is clear? Can you able to follow me or not? Yes. So now we are just breaking this drawbacks. Just we are breaking these drawbacks. So we instead some drawbacks here. So first drawback what we face is continuous memory allocation. So in array, there is only possible to use a continuous memory allocation. If the memory is not available, then I cannot create it as a continuous memory allocation. So to break it, what we did is instead of using index, we use the address of my next node. So I use the address of my next node so that I can create or I can break this continuous memory allocation into a single node. So first step, we have succeeded. Yes, we have break my continuous memory allocation by using an address variable. So to how to save this address variable? By using this pointers. We'll be using pointers to save the address variables. Is everyone clear up to this? So first step, we have break the continuous memory allocation. Yes. So the next one. Okay, sir. If I want to, so the next thing that we face is insertion and deletion is difficult in arrays. Insert and difficult or insertion and deletion. So if I want to add a new node, so if I want to, okay, first we'll be deleting the node. First, actually, we started to delete it node. So if I want to delete this node, then what happens? This address is inside my previous node's address. If I want to delete this node, what I'll be doing it? If I want to delete this node, that is the 200x. If I want to delete this 200x, then what I have to do? If it is an array, then I have to swap all the values one step before. But here, what I can do? Yes, change the next nodes to previous nodes address. Correct. Just I can remove this link. In the this 200x will be removed, and I can just post the next node's address. That is 200x. So now what happens is this memory will be cleared. Correct. I'm directly making a link with my next node. So now the next node for my 100x is after they removing the 200x. So now who's the next node for my 100x? Yes, so replace the 200x as 300x. Yes, 300x. Correct. So now you have not shifted any values. We have doesn't shifted any values. We have just removed only one address from my next node, and we have replaced with the another address. That is going to be a next node's address. So this is the one-step process that we did. So deletion also become very easy in it. Okay, sir. So now if I want to insert a new node, so the same 200 if I want to insert. Now what I have to do? So now I have to insert here. So here S of 1. So this is inside my 200x. Just I want to insert it here. Insert it to my next node. Next node, that is my second node. So what I have to do? Just change the address. So just here 200x, and the next node of 200x should be replaced with 300x. So by changing the address, I can make a link for it. Is it correct or wrong? Yes, we doesn't want to create a new memory, or we doesn't want to shift all the values one step backward or one step previous. Yes, we are just reducing the computation time here, because whenever I'm going for a large records, the computation time matters. Correct? So by doing this, we are reducing all this operation time that we are taking in. Yes. So now I hope we have cleared all these drawbacks in arrays. Yes. So no continuous memory allocation is there, and insertion is very easy, and deletion is very easy here. So this is the example for linked list. This is called as the linked list. So I'm just overcoming my drawbacks. So these are my drawbacks in array. I'm just overcoming my drawbacks in array by using the concept called linked list. Linked list. Yes. So here the advantage is no continuous memory allocation. So whenever I want, I can add a new node. See, for example, if I want to add a new node, then I have to create a new student variable. Just create a student variable, new student variable, and he may be at different location. Just what I have to do, just I have to add this address to my previous node. That's it. Now I have made a link with it. I have added a new node. So I don't have any size limit here. So after 10,000 students, if I want to add more data, then I can add n number of students. I don't want to give a specific restricted data size or restricted memory here. Yes. Just a minute, guys. Just a minute. Okay. Sorry, guys. I got a call. Sorry. Um, okay. So I hope everyone is clear up to this. So why we are going from arrays to linked list? So now you guys tell me. So is linked list is a storage structure or a data structure? Data structure. Super. Data structure. Okay. So linked list this doesn't give me any storage preference. Is it so? He's not allocating any memory for to save my data. Yes. Actually, it is acting as both. Actually, linked list and array are both called as both storage structure and also store data structure. It's not only creating a memory, it is also creating or it is telling the processor how to save my data. So both these linked list and storage arrays, linked list and array are called both storage structure and data structure. Is it clear, guys? Is it clear? Both linked list and array are both is not only giving preference where to create a memory, but also how to save the values. Both the things are given by array and linked list. So these two, see, I think linked list is one of the important concept. So if you are going to learn with data structure, if you want to organize your data efficiently, then these two are the basics. Arrays and linked list are the basics. All the data structures that we are going to see after this will use only these two concepts. If I want to implement a stack, I'll be using either array to implement stack or I'll be using linked list to implement a stack. If I want to implement a queue, I'll be using either an array to implement a queue or linked list to implement a queue. If I want to implement a tree, I'll be using either an array or I'll be using a linked list to implement a tree. Everything. The only reason why, because we're using the store array or linked lists, these two are the things that gives me a how to create a memory and how to organize it. And each data set has its own way of principles to save the values or how to organize the data. The organization techniques that we will be taking it from there, but the storage is taken from this either array or linked list. So this is the reason why array and linked lists are very, very, very important in data structures. If we are good in arrays and linked lists, then it is very easy for us to solve any type of data structures. Even in graph, we'll be using the same array or linked list. Yes. Okay, sir. Now we start to implement. Sir, okay, sir. So we have split it here, sir. So we have created a student section, and instead of using this index, what we did is we have added the address of my next node. So how to create a node, sir? Here. So now we are going to no condition by location. So second one is insertion and insertion is easy. Okay, sir. So first I considered these two are the major drawbacks. So to overcome this from my arrays, we started to implement this linked list. Okay, sir. So now what happens is we already have the same student structure. So just I'm reducing the data. So student, so just keeping roll number and mark. You can add any data here. You can add any number of data here. As an example, we can add any number of data. So here the extra one thing that I want to add. What is the thing? So in my student structure, I have to add only one more field to represent my next node address. So what is it? So apart from my student's data, so this S0 will contain all the student data. So this is roll number, name, mark, everything will be in student data. Apart from this, what is this thing that I have extra here? What is this 200x? What is this 300x, 400x, 500x, 600x? What are this? Address. So in C, how we'll be saving this address? Using pointer. Yes, I'm going to create a pointer and I'm just keeping the name as next student or next node or next. For our understanding, I'm keeping it as a next student. Okay. So whether it's the correct representation, pointer next student is the correct representation. Yes. Then what is the correct representation to save an address? I have to represent. So to represent a normal, it should be like data type followed by star followed by the variable. Correct? So this is how a normal pointer will be represented. So here, whose address I'm going to save here? This 200x has whose address? Next student's address. Correct. So here it should have student. Student star next student. Still I don't know what is next student. So student is a user defined data type. To specify it is a user defined data type, I have to proceed with the keyword start. Start student next student. So this is the only variable that I'm going to add it to my normal structure, which makes my entire array into a linked list. Is it clear? Is this clear? So this is an example how to break my structure into a linked list or how to break my array into a linked list. Guys, is this clear? So now I'm going to change this student. So for our understanding, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this student into a node. Just I'm keeping a common name as node, and then with that node, I'll be starting to create my values here. So up to this video is clear. So how to create a single node. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is instead of using this struct student, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create struct node. I'm keeping a common name here. So this name can be anything. This can be of student, this can be of mark, this can be of department, this can be of anything. Just I'm giving a generic name here. And similarly, this is my data part. This data part can be anything. This data part can be of any data type, any data type. So string, another structure, or character array, or float, or double, or anything. So I'm just converting into a single thing. There is no data, int data, and followed by my next node's address. So structure node star next. So this is the simple structure for a single node. Just I have converted this into a generic form. That's it. Just I have converted this. So instead of keeping a student structure, I'm just keeping the node name as node. And this data part can be replaced with anything. So I'm just keeping it as a, for our understanding, I'm keeping it as an int data. And similarly, to represent my next node's address, next student's address, I'm just keeping it as a next. So I can keep it as a next node or next student or anything, whatever may be. So just for our understanding, I have given or converted into it like this. So this is a single node, how the single node is being created. Is everyone clear about this? How a node is created or what are the things that are inside my node? Is anyone having any doubts in it? Super, sir. Yes, node is just a name. I just given a generic name. So instead of using it as a student or a mark or it is an address or a specific name, I'm just keeping that as a generic name. Generic name. That's it. Node is just a name. As of as here I have used it as a student. Similarly, I can use it as a student mark. So I can give the structure name as student underscore mark. I can give this as a student underscore personal details. Correct? So instead of using these long names, for our practice, what I did is I just removed this name into a generic name. So I'm just keeping that name as my node. Just a node is just a name. That's it. A generic name. Is it clear? We can use any name here. We can use any name. It's just for our understanding, we are given it as a node. That's it. Yes. See, this is before going. See, just understand this. There are types of linked lists. There are different types of linked lists, and each linked list has its own implementation and whatever things that are required here. But we start with single linked list. I'll be explaining you the single linked list. Then we'll be going for double linked list and circular linked list. But now the process is we are converting from array to a linked list. So in the process, what are the things that we are doing? So that is the thing that I'm explaining you right now. How we are converting an array into a linked list. Yes, every next node will have this address. Because without this next, we cannot access the next node. Because we are breaking that index. We are not going to use the same index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because if I'm using the index, then that should be arranged in a continuous memory allocation. So I don't want to use that continuous memory allocation. So to break that, I need the address of my. Yes, I'll be explaining you the example after this. Yes, I'll be starting to code, then I can be able to explain. You can understand it. But just know what is this node. That's it. Just we have converted our structure, normal student structure. Just we have created a student structure here. We have converted our student structure into a single node. Into a single node. In that we have only one part added in it, which is going to have my next node address, next student's address. So this is the way that we are converting our normal structure into a single node, student node. So this is the only part that I explained you right now. There is nothing more than I explained it. So why we are using this address or why we are using this next. So that is the only thing that I explained you right now. Okay. Okay, sir. So as coming back to here, so we doesn't have the starting node. So I doesn't know who is going to be starting node. So for here, I'm just keeping the name instead of start as my head. So to represent my starting node, so here I'm just going to start my program just in my. So what happens is I'm just going to have a starting node. So to represent my starting node, so the starting node is going to hold, see the starting node is going to hold the address of my first student structure, correct? First student structure. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a variable structure node star head. So this value or this variable head is going to hold the starting node or the first node of my linked list. Yes, head is going to hold the starting node or the starting address of my starting address of starting node's address. That's it. Yes, I just given a variable name as head, so we can keep the name as start or head or anything. But in general, what they do, they in general, actually in programming terms, what happens is they everything will be telling me there's a node and head node and head node and head. So I'm just following the same footstep that what they use. So initially there is no head has been formed, or initially there is no node has been created. So what I'm doing is I'm just keeping the node as null, which states that till now there is nothing has been created. Still now there is no linked list has been formed. Is it clear? Is this clear? So we have created a node. This node has structure which has data part. Another one part is going to be my next part. So next is going to be holding the next node's address. And after that, I'm just creating the first node's address. There is the value or the place where my first node's address alone going to be saved. Yes. So structured node star head. Initially, there is nothing created. This is the first point. I'm just creating a head. So I'm just giving the value as null, which represents that till now there is nothing has been created. This is very, very important, guys. If you are not giving null, then this will take some garbage values. Yes. So to avoid this garbage value, we have to give this value as null. Please make sure you are giving this null value, because if you are not giving it, because everything is going to be an address oriented. So normally C doesn't handle any garbage characters. C doesn't have garbage characters, so it will not clear all the data. You have to manually clear all the data. So some person may remove all the data, some person may not remove the data. So for our better usage, we will be initializing the value with null. Yes. Sorry. Okay. So this is the first node. Okay, sir. So next, what I'm going to do. Okay, sir. So before entering into a complete programming, we can take an example. So what happens is I'm just okay. Maybe I can use this. Okay, so consider I'm going to enter a value like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 into my linked list. So these are the values. This data can be of anything. This data can be of anything. Just for your understanding, this is going to be an example, just an example, how this normal append function or how I'm going to insert a value inside my linked list. So this is an example for it. So we have a node. So node, I'm just going to use the same node structure. One is going to be my data part. So data part is going to be an integer. So I have taken the example as integer value. And next part is going to be my next node's address. So we'll be creating that next node one by one. Okay. So first things first, we'll be creating a head address. So I'm just keeping this as head. So initially there is nothing inside my head. So just head is my starting address. So this is what we have done. So now first I have to insert this value 10 to my linked list. So what are the things that I have to do? So if I want to add a new student, then what I'll be doing? First I have to create a memory for this. Correct? Guys, can you able to follow me or not? Yes. Yes. So first thing, I have to create a memory for it. First thing, I have to create a memory. So first I have to create a node. So first I'll be creating a node for it. So a single node. So here in the node, I have two things. One is data part, another one is next part. So I'll be creating a node here. So one is data, another one is my next part. So consider this node as created at address 10x. I'm just keeping the variable name as new node. Now what happens? Just I have created one memory node, one node here. I have created one node structure here. Now what I have to do? I have to copy this value to this memory allocation. Correct? So now what I'll be doing is I'll be copying the value. So where I have to copy? I have to copy this value. This is I'm just taking this as my data or something because I'm considering it as a data. So just I have to move this data part into my new node data part. Correct? So for accessing that, I'll be using this new node of data that is equal to data. So whenever I enter this, I'll be adding the value to this memory allocation. Correct? Next, till now, does I know? So this is going to be my next node. Do I know there is next node is available here? Is there any next node available here? No, I doesn't know any next node because here I'm just going to enter each data whenever the data is going to be arrived. So I doesn't know who's going to be my next node. Okay, so now what I'll be doing is so new node of next because I doesn't know who's going to be my next. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just keeping the value as null. So just putting the value as null. So what I did is I have just created a new node and inside my new node, I have copied the data part that I have to insert. So this data part can be anything. It can be of name, roll number, or anything that I want to add. So for our understanding, just I have given it as a 10. So just integer data part. So just I'm moving this data part to my new node. And after that, there's the next link. So next, what I'm doing is there any new node available after this? I doesn't know any new node, so just I'm keeping this value as null. So right now I have created one single node. Now what I have to do? So this is the one who is going to hold the starting address. And this is the new node that I have created. Now what I have to do? Does head know that this new node is my first node? Yes. So
Sir,
till now, head is
if head is null, we
yes,
have to
Ganesh?
assign to it, sir.
Yes, correct. Yes. So till now, head doesn't know this is the first node I have created. So, but we know if it is null, then there is no node that's been assigned. So what I'm checking is I'm checking whether my head is null or not. If it is null, then I'm assigning this new node. So that is the concept that we are using here. So if my head is equal to null, then I'm assigning my head equal to new node. See, this is just an example for logic, but this is not the exact syntax or this is not the exact code. There will be some changes in code. I'll be explaining in. So now what happens is if my head is null, then what happens is I'm just putting the address of my first node inside my head. So this is the part where the link is established. So whenever I'm executing this statement, at this time, this new node's address, because new node is also going to hold the address, head is also going to hold the address. So just I'm copying this address value to my head. So now the head will have this address value. So now is the time that link will be established. So now this link will be established. So this is how we have first initialize our first node here. Is everyone clear up to this? So first head is the part which is going to hold the starting node's address, and this is my first node which is having one data part, another next node. Is everyone clear up to this? So we have created only one node here. We just created only one node here. Yes. Okay, sir. Now we have added this, so I'm just going to remove it. Now I have to insert my second data, 20. I have to insert my second data to my linked list. Now what I have to do? as usual, first I have to create a new node. Super. First I have to create a new node. I'll be creating a new node. So this is going to be my data path, and this is going to be my next part. So the same syntax. So my new node data. So here it will be not in the same location because it will be created in a different location and the new nodes data. So that is the new node that I have created. New nodes data is replaced with the data that is given by the user. That is going to be 20. So new nodes data is replaced with the data, and the new nodes next. I doesn't know who's going to be my next node, so I'm just giving it as a null. Yes. Now we have created this new node. Okay. Now what happens? There is already a node available in my head, and a new node has also been created. Now how I'll be linking this to my previous linked list. So first, the previous step, we'll be checking whether my head is equal to null. I'll be checking whether my head is equal to null. So now the condition will fail because head is not null. Now the head has 10x, correct? So now what I have to do? Yes, we can normally tell it as a head of next equal to new node or anything. But in a long-term sense, you have to see this. We are not only going to insert only one node, we are going to add n number of nodes. So we doesn't know how many nodes is going to come. So we have to add at the last. So the process, see, the insertion can take place at different locations. Insertion can be taken place at the first, or insertion can be at the last, or insertion can take place at any specific location. It can take at any specific location. So for our example, what we are going to do is we are going to add at the last of my node, just to the last of my node. So what happens is I'm checking whether if my head is null. No, if my head is null, no, the head is not null. So then what happens? The condition fails. So I'll be coming to my else part. So in else part, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check for my last node address which has null. Because we know only one thing. The last nodes next will always be null. That is the thing that we know, correct? The last node's next address will be null because there is no other node after that. So this is how we have created our node. I hope this is visible. So we are going to use that condition. We are going to use that condition and use on this condition, we are going to add the new node. So for that, we'll be using some while loop and we'll be using this. I'll be explaining it what is it later. While my temp of next is not equal to null, I'm just going up to that. After that, I'll be after end of my loop, I'll be entering at the last node. So this is the actual syntax, but that doesn't want you. So just for our example, what I'm going to do is I'm just keeping it as a last node. Last node, next part. That is equal to new node. If so, actually, I'm not going to use how I'm going to take the last node of code. I'm not going to take it. Just I'm going to take the last node next and assigning the next part to a new node. Yes, so maybe this will help you to understand it a little bit here. So here, who is the last node in my head? Who is the last node in my list? So up to this is my head start. So here the last node is the only node available in my list is 10x. So and this is my first node and also this is my last node. Correct? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the last node's next part to my new node. So the new node is 20x. So just I'm making a changes here. That's it. So now what happens? Just last nodes next part is updated as my new node. So now the link has been formed. Correct. Guys, can you understand this? How this link has been formed? Guys, is this clear? Up to this, everyone clear? Yes. Okay, so what happens is, just I'm going to repeat it one more time. So just I want to add a new node. That is my value 20 to my linked list. So first what I have to do, I have to create a new node. First I'll be creating a memory to save the value. For that I'll be creating a new node. So I'll be creating a new node at the location of 20x. Inside the 20x, I'll be adding the data to be added. First the 20 will be added to my list, sorry, to my node, and then after 20, I doesn't know who's going to come. 30, 40, 50, 60, I doesn't know who's going to come. So I don't know who's going to be my next part. So I'm just keeping the next node's value as none. So with this, I have created a new node. I have created one single new node. So after this, after creating a node, what I have to do, I have to make a link between this node to my previously available linked list. So I doesn't know where the linked list is available. The only thing that I know is the head. The head which is going to hold the starting node's address. And I doesn't know how many nodes are available inside my head. Correct. Till now I don't know how many nodes are there inside my head. I can know only the head is going to hold the starting node's address. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check with my node whether there is a node available in my linked list or not. Whether there is a node available in my linked list or not. Yes, I'm checking that. So if my head is there, if there is a node available there, then the address of that node will be inside my head. If there is no node has been created, then the head value will be null. So here already we have created a new node and assigned this address to my head. So 10x is already there. Yes. So what happens is, if I check that whether whether a node is there or not, whether my head is equal to null, what happens is head has already a value of 10x. So head, that is head's value is 10x is equal to null. So now the condition false, which states that a list is already formed and there is a list there, we cannot directly add it to my head. Yes. So what I have to do, I have to go back to the last node inside my list. So I can insert at any point. I can insert it first, or I can insert it last, or I can insert it any point. But for first understanding, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add it to my last node. Just add it to my last node. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to traverse to my last node. So to traverse to my last node, I have a simple syntax. I'll be using a for loop here. Sorry, while loop or for loop will be using here. By using that loop, we'll be going there. So I'll be explaining in the code part that we can explain it in the code part. But before that, we are going to just what we're going to do is we are going to see for my last node. So on how I can find my last node, the last node's next pass will always be null. Last node's next part will always be null. So I'm just checking that as my condition. So the condition will be so while. So just taking temp as my head value. Temp of next is not equal to null, which states that there is a next node available there. Say that the next node is available there. So here I'll be moving to my temp equal to temp of next. After this temp will hold the last node's address. So I'll be holding the temp of next equal to new node. So this is the actual code. I'll be explaining the code later, but this is how we'll be finding the last node's address. How to find the last node address? By using this null value. We will know only one thing, that the last node's next part would be null. To find that last node, we'll be using this condition. So now we doesn't want this, just I'm removing it. Just what we need is we just want that last node's address. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking it as a last node. So what I'm doing is last node's next part. That is this last node. The last node is going to be 10x, and 10x next part is going to be updated as my new node. See, I'll be explaining that while loop in the next part. So while explaining the code, I'll be explaining that next thing. But before that, you understand this. This is what last node's next part. Is it clear, guys? Someone asked me, sir, once again. Yes, Rakesh. Is that clear? So now what I'm doing is I'm taking this last node, and last node's next part is updated as 20x. Yes, so now this at this time we are having this, we are forming this link here. So now the link has been formed. Now the last node is updated from 10x to 20x. Is it clear? Up to this, if everyone is clear? Yes. Okay, sir. Now you tell me, sir. Now we have inserted this data 20 here. Now I have to insert my data 30. What I have to do? What is the first step I have to do? Now I have to insert my data 30 to my linked list. Yes, we have to repeat the last step. First, create a node. Super. First, we have to create a node. I'm just going to create a node. So I'm just keeping this node's address as 30x, and similarly copying the data from my user to my node. So 30 will be copied from my user to my new node. And after that, I doesn't know who's going to my next node. So I'm just keeping the next node as null. So after this, what I have to do? I have to add this node to my linked list, correct? So here I'll be checking whether a list is already there or not by using the condition if my head is equal to null. So yes, my head is not equal to null because it has a value as 10x. So 10x means then there is a link or list has already been formed here. So then I have to go to my last node. So the last node is going to be 20x. Who's going to be last node here? The last node is going to be my 20x. So what I have to do? I have to change the last node's next address to my new node. Correct? So last node's next address. I hope you can see this last node's next address. Last node's next address to my new node. So I'll be updating this with 38. So now the link has been formed. Yes. Is that clear? Yes. I hope this example is clear enough for you. I think so. And I think so you understand this, how this is creating. It is not going to be continuous and there is no size limit for it. We can add n number of data. Whenever I want, I can add new node here. Yes? Yes, sir. So this is an example here I have given you. So now can we go for programming? Yes. So before that, I save this document. Just a minute. See, there are two sheets here. The first sheet I have given with a simple example, and the second sheet, okay, just a minute. So there are two sheets there. Just a minute, I closed it. Okay. Yes, my system will be a little mess. Please adjust. Okay. Okay, so there are two sheets. There's the first sheet in which we have converted our. So first I explain the memory management. After that, how we are converting this array into a linker list. So this is the first sheet will be there. The second sheet we have given as an example. So how to insert a new data or to append data. So these are two things that will be in the sheet. I'll be sharing you the sheets and the documents the later sessions. Okay, now I'm going to my programming. Okay. Okay, just I'm going to use the same code blocks. It will be very easy. So here only few steps that I have to explain it to you. So I just type the code and then I'll be explaining it to you. Okay, first I'm just inputting my um, sorry, ma'am, Gayatri ma'am, ma'am, hello, ma'am, கேக்குதா? Hello, ma'am, I'm audible. Ma'am, your voice is not audible. Okay, okay, ma'am, lunch time எப்படின்னு சொன்னாங்க ma'am. Okay, I'll check with her. Yes, shall we continue or can we have a break? பிரேக்கா? ஏன்னா காலைல இருந்து பேசுனது நானு, பிரேக் கேக்குறது நீங்களா? எப்படின்னு சொல்லு. Okay, okay. Sorry guys. ஒரு but see, my opinion, it's still not yet started to learn. Actually, this is the first topic that we are learning. So I thought that this should be very important. So I want to take it uh, very much time to explain you clearly. So that I took so much of time. I hope it is not a problem for you. But lunchtime break இதெல்லாம் கேக்குறவங்க எனக்கு எதுவுமே நீங்க ரெஸ்பான்ஸே பண்ணல. நான் whenever I ask a question, you guys are listening simple, except for a few guys. And that few guys are asking me to continue the session. What I can do? Okay, running out of charges, I can agree with you all. Okay, then you guys tell me. So when we can assemble back? Because I want to complete this. Actually, we have to at least complete one problem here. You guys tell me at what time we can join back.
2:30, sir.
2:30.
Sir.
Okay. Okay, let's not go for 2 or 2:30. Let's have it between 2:50. Yes. See, you are into third years and you are going to start to prepare for a company. You should not expect breaks. And moreover, you are already in rest from morning. From morning 9:30 to till now, you are in rest. You're just listening. I hope so. So we are the persons who are talking, and you are the one you have to take a break. So I suggest you guys put your phone in charge. Don't WhatsApp your friends. Just put your devices in your charge. Have a lunch. Don't have a heavy lunch. Have a little lunch. Come back by 2:15. Yes. Is it okay?
2:50, sir.
2
2:50 or 15, sir.
15 15 15 215 215.
Okay, sir.
Or else we can continue. I can continue with this. I can continue or complete this program.
Sir, we
Sir,
are
am I audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Uh, Sir, we'll leave
Yes.
them for breaks, lunch breaks, sir. Then we'll continue by 2:20, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. So 2:15. So please join by 2:10 or 2:15. That will be the right time for you, so that we can continue this. We can complete this. Yes, guys. So since this is the first session, so it takes too much of time. So don't worry. So Anthony, sorry. So most of the response can propose of you. So we can continue the session in the afternoon session. So we can continue in the afternoon. So if you go have a lunch, come back, we can start the session by 2:50. Yes, Anas, thank you. Yes, thank you guys. So have a lunch and come back by 2:15. Mm, ma'am,
Sir,
ma'am, ரெக்கார்டிங் ஸ்டாப் பண்றேன்.
okay, sir.
லிங்க் க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிடுறேன் மேம். அப்புறமேட்டுக்கு திரும்ப 2:15 ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடலாம்.
சரிங்க சார். இப்போ மீட்டிங் க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம்ல சார்? எண்ட்
மீட்டிங்
பண்ணிடலாம் சார். திருப்பி
எண்ட் பண்ணிடலாம் மேம்.